How are you guys doing? Today is Tuesday, December 6th, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I am going to review yesterday's Elite matchups and performances from Monday, December 5th, as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. Taking a quick step back and looking at where we are in the calendar year, after yesterday's round of 16 matches, there are 10 teams left, as the last two matchups for this round will take place today, and of course, the quarterfinal round will resume on Friday. Taking a look at what's going on here in the U.S. in terms of college football, bowl season will resume in about 10 days. The first bowl games will be on Friday, December 16th. In terms of college basketball, there were two teams that were ranked that played yesterday, and they were both able to pick up wins. Yesterday, there was also a Monday night football game to end off week 13 in the 2022 season. There was a good amount of hockey and a good amount of basketball as well, so I'll take you through every single sport one at a time. With that said, I'm going to start off with the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Yesterday was the third day of round of 16 matchups. The first matchup that would take place, the one that was scheduled at 10 in the morning Eastern Standard Time, would be between Japan and Croatia. Japan would make it to the round of 16 after finishing at the top of Group E. After beating Germany 2-1 in their first matchup, they would lose 1-0 to Costa Rica before they would beat Spain 2-1 to earn their spot into this round. And then, of course, looking at how Croatia got here, Croatia would finish second in Group F behind Morocco. In their group, they would draw 0-0 with Morocco. They would get their only win of the World Cup in the group stage in their 4-1 win against Canada. Their third matchup would see them draw 0-0 with Belgium. And taking a look at how this round of 16 matchup would go, Japan and Croatia would end up tying at 1 at the end of regulation. Japan would score the goal of the first half with a goal from Daisen Maeda. Croatia would score the lone goal of the second half with a goal from Ivan Perisic. In the penalty kick round, Croatia would advance after beating Japan 3-1. Their goalie in this matchup, Livakovic, would go on and save 3 penalty shots in that round in order to help Croatia make it through. So, of course, with this win, they will face off against Brazil on Friday in the quarterfinal round. Looking at the second matchup, Brazil would go on and beat South Korea. Looking at how Brazil and South Korea would make it to the round of 16, Brazil would win Group G over Switzerland, as in their group they would beat Serbia 2-0, and they would beat Switzerland 1-0 before losing 1-0 to Cameroon in their third group stage game. South Korea would make it to this round after finishing second in Group H. In their group stage matchups, they would draw 0-0 with Uruguay. They would lose 3-2 to Ghana in their second matchup, and then they would end up beating Portugal 2-1 to earn their way here. And then now that they would face off against Brazil, Brazil would end up beating South Korea 4-1, as in the process, they would sub in their third goalie in this matchup, Weverton, as Brazil would be the first team, I'm not sure if it's in World Cup history, but the first team in a while to play every single player that they brought in on their roster in the World Cup. Looking at how the game would go, Brazil would score all 4 goals in the first half. Their first goal would come from their elite forward, who reps Real Madrid, Vinicius Jr. Their second goal will come off of a penalty from their elite forward, Neymar, who plays for PSG. Richarlison would end up scoring their third goal. Their striker from Tottenham would put them up 3-0. And Lucas Paqueta, who I believe plays for PSG, would end up scoring Brazil's fourth in the 36th minute, and Brazil is doing a lot of dancing. South Korea's lone goal will come from Paik Sung-ho in the 76th minute in the second half. With this 4-1 win, Brazil will advance to the quarterfinal round, where they will face off against Croatia after Croatia beat Japan on penalties. And with this loss, of course, South Korea and Japan would be the 5th and 6th teams eliminated from the knockout stage. Taking a look at what's going on today, the first matchup at 10 a.m. will be between Morocco and Spain. Morocco would make it to this round after finishing at the top of Group F with 7 points. In their group stage matches, they would draw 0-0 with Croatia, they would beat Belgium 2-0, and then they would beat Canada 2-1. Now looking at how Spain would make it to this round, they would finish with 4 points in their group. In their first matchup, they would beat Costa Rica 7-0 with 6 different goal scorers. They would end up drawing with Germany in their second matchup. They would end up losing to Japan in their third matchup, as Al Tanaka's 51st minute goal would keep Spain from winning the group. And of course, that is the first matchup, and the winner of Morocco and Spain will face off against the winner of Portugal and Switzerland on Saturday, December 10th. Looking at how Portugal and Switzerland got here, Portugal would win Group H with 6 points in the group. They will win their first matches in the group against Ghana and Uruguay before losing 2-1 to South Korea. Looking at how Switzerland got here, they would finish with 6 points. They would finish second in the group with Brazil after they would beat Cameroon. They would lose 1-0 to Brazil, and then they would beat Serbia 3-2. They are looking like a very strong team. So, of course, these would be the final 2 matches for the round of 16 before the quarterfinal round will pick up on Friday, and I will do a preview for that round once we get there. Taking a look at what's going on with college sports here in the U.S. The college football season will resume on Friday, December 16th, as that is when at least the first ranked teams will be playing in their bowl games. So, of course, I will lead you there one day at a time. Taking a look at what's going on with college basketball, the highest ranked team that played would be the 18th ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs. They would host the unranked Kent State Golden Flashes. Gonzaga would beat Kent State 73-66. As with this win, now both teams are 6-3. Bulldogs won this game by 7 after they outscored Kent State by 6 in the first half. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Bulldogs were led in scoring by their starting forward, Drew Timme. Their senior from Richardson, Texas, would finish with 29 points, 17 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 38 minutes. He shot 11 for 16 from the field on the night. With this win, the 18th ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs are 6-3 this year. And with this loss, unranked Kent State is 6-3 as well. Looking at the 22nd ranked team in the nation, the San Diego State Aztecs would host the unranked Troy Trojans. San Diego State would win this game 60-55. They won it by 5 at home after outscoring the Trojans by 9 in the second half. On the winning end of this matchup, the 22nd ranked Aztecs were led in scoring by their starting guard, Matt Bradley. San Diego State senior out of San Bernardino, California, would finish with 19 points in 29 minutes. He shot 7 for 10 from the field, and he would make all 4 of his free throws on the day. With this win, the 22nd ranked San Diego State Aztecs are 7-2, and with this loss, unranked Troy is 6-4 this season. Taking a look at what's going on at the professional level, yesterday would be the Monday night matchup to end Week 13 of the 2022 NFL season, as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would host the New Orleans Saints. The Buccaneers would beat the Saints 17-16. The Buccaneers scored the first field goal before the Saints would score 16 unanswered points going into the fourth quarter. The Buccaneers would score 2 touchdowns within the last 3 minutes of the game. They would officially go ahead on Tom Brady's 6-yard touchdown pass to Rachaad White. That would actually tie the game. Ryan Succop's PAT would give the Buccaneers the eventual win over the Saints. On the losing end of this matchup, the visiting Saints were led in passing by their starting quarterback, Andy Dalton. Dalton would throw for 229 yards and a touchdown. He had another yard on the ground, so he had 230 total on the day. New Orleans' leading receiver was Rashid Shaheed. He would finish with 4 receptions for 75 yards on the day. Not to mention, their backup quarterback, Taysom Hill, would throw for 21 yards as he completed his only pass of the day. He would run for 10, and then he would also receive for 35 yards. He would have 66 total yards of offense, as he would have the team's lone receiving touchdown. And then on the defensive side of the ball, the visiting Saints would be led in tackles by Marcus May. Their safety out of Florida would finish with 11 total tackles on the day. And then the team's lone interception, the game's lone interception, would belong to Demario Davis. Demario Davis would finish with 7 tackles alongside his interception for New Orleans, as the team would combine for just 1 sack. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Tampa Bay Buccaneers would be led out by their goated starting quarterback, Tom Brady. He would end up completing 36 of his 54 passes. He threw for 281 yards. He threw 2 touchdowns and an interception. The Buccaneers' leading rusher would be Leonard Fournette. He had 49 rushing yards and he had 32 receiving yards. He had 81 total yards of offense for the Buccaneers. Tampa Bay's elite wide receiver, Mike Evans, had 4 receptions for 59 yards on the day. On the defensive side of the ball, the Buccaneers would be led in tackles by Lavonte David. Their linebacker out of Nebraska had 12 tackles on the day. He had 2 tackles for loss, and he had one of the team's 2 sacks. That was how the Buccaneers were looking yesterday, and with this win, the Buccaneers are holding on to a 6-6 record. They have the best record in the NFC South, as they have 1 more win than the second-place Atlanta Falcons. In the NFC playoff picture, they are holding on to that 4th seed, as they have 5 less wins than the NFC leading Philadelphia Eagles as of right now, as they have 5 games left in their schedule. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have won 3 of their last 5 games to date. With this loss, the New Orleans Saints are 4-9. They're currently holding the worst record in the NFC South, as they have only 2 less wins than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. The Saints are holding the 3rd worst record in the NFC, as they currently have 3 less wins than the Seattle Seahawks, who are holding on to that 7th seed in the NFC, as the Saints have 5 games left in their they have 4 games left in their schedule. The Saints are on a 2-game losing streak, and they have now lost 4 of their last 5 games to date. Taking a look now at what is going on in the NFL moving forward, the NFL will resume in Week 14 on Thursday, December 8th, as the defending champs LA Rams are going to host the Las Vegas Raiders. This will be very interesting, as the Rams may be eliminated from playoff contention this week. Taking a look at what's going on with professional hockey. Starting off in Boston, the Bruins would host the Vegas Golden Knights. The Vegas Golden Knights would take the Boston Bruins to overtime after the Bruins would force it. Taylor Hall's 9th goal of the season off of a power play would send him into overtime. Neither team would score in overtime, as the Golden Knights would beat the Bruins in the shootout. The game-winning goal would come from Riley Smith. The top star of this game would be Taylor Hall. Boston's left winger out of Calgary would finish with 1 goal on the day for Boston. And then he would be the person that tied it up after Vegas scored the first 3 goals of this game. Brad Marchand, Boston's left winger out of Canada, would finish with a goal and an assist. And then Vegas' center, Paul Cotter, would finish with the 3rd star of the day out of Canton, Michigan. With this shootout win, the Vegas Golden Knights are holding on to a record of 19-7-1. As of right now, their 39 points in 27 games is the best record in the Western Conference. Compared to the Eastern Conference, they are still sitting behind the Bruins and the Devils in terms of points. Right now in the Pacific Division, they sit 6 points ahead of the 2nd place Seattle Kraken, and they also sit 6 points ahead of the Central Division leading Dallas Stars for the outright lead of the West. The Vegas Golden Knights have won their last 2 games, and they've now won 6 of their last 10 games to date. And on the losing end of this matchup, the Boston Bruins are 23-1. This would be their first overtime loss of the year. The New York Islanders are the only team in the Eastern Conference that has yet to lose in overtime or later. With their 41 points in 24 games, the Bruins are holding on to the best record in the East, as they are tied with the New Jersey Devils, who currently lead the Metropolitan Division. They also sit 2 points ahead of the Western Conference leading Golden Knights, as the Bruins are tied for the best record in the entire NHL. In the Atlantic Division, they are sitting 6 points ahead of the 2nd place Toronto Maple Leafs. The Bruins have lost 2 of their last 10 games, and one of those 2 losses would come in overtime. Looking at what would happen in New York, the Rangers would host the St. Louis Blues. The Rangers would beat the Blues 6-4 at home. The New York Rangers would see a little bit of back and forth going on as the Blues would actually take the lead in the second period. The Rangers would score the last 3 goals of the game to take the outright lead off of Alexis Lafreniere's 4th goal of the season. The top star of the game would be New York's center out of Pittsburgh, Vincent Trocheck. He would finish with a goal and an assist for the blue and white. New York's left winger Alexis Lafreniere would be the 3rd star of the day as he finished with a goal and an assist for himself. With this win, the New York Rangers are holding on to a record of 12, 10, and 5. Their 29 points through 27 games is the 4th worst record in the Metropolitan Division out east. They sit 12 points behind the division-leading New Jersey Devils, and they've won 4 of their last 10 games to date. With this loss, the St. Louis Blues are 11, 14, and 0. Their 22 points in 25 games is the 3rd worst record in the Central Division. They are sitting 11 points behind the division-leading Dallas Stars. They are currently on a 4-game losing streak at the moment. Only the Coyotes and the Ducks have longer active losing streaks in the West than the Blues. The Blues have lost 6 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to Philadelphia, the Flyers would host the defending champs, Colorado Avalanche. The Flyers would beat the Avalanche 5-3. The Avalanche would score the first goal of the game before the Flyers would score the next 4 to take full advantage. They would take the outright lead in the first period off of Tanner Laczynski's 2nd goal of the year. The top star of the game would be Philadelphia's center out of Alberta, Carter Hart. He would finish with 29 saves, although he allowed 3 goals to the defending champs. Philadelphia's defender, Travis Sanheim, would finish with the 2nd star of the game as he got a goal and an assist. With this win at home, the Philadelphia Flyers are holding on to a 9, 12, and 5 record. Their 23 points in 26 games is the 2nd worst record in the Metropolitan Division. They are sitting 18 points behind the division-leading Devils at this point in time. The Flyers have won 2 of their last 10 games so far. With this loss, the defending Stanley Cup champs, Colorado Avalanche, are now 13, 9, and 1. Their 27 points through 23 games is the 4th best record in the Central Division. They are sitting 6 points behind the division-leading Dallas Stars. The Avalanche are on a 2-game losing streak as they've now lost 5 of their last 10 games. Taking a look at what's going on in Edmonton, the Oilers would host the Washington Capitals. The Capitals would beat the Oilers 3-2. After both teams would score 2 goals in the second period, and the Oilers would hold a 2-1 lead. The Capitals would take the outright lead in the 3rd off of Nick Dowd's 4th goal of the season to give them the win. The top star of this game was Edmonton's goalie out of Edmonton, Stuart Skinner. He would finish with 47 saves, although he allowed 3 goals to the Capitals. With this win from Washington, the Capitals are now holding on to an NHL record of 11, 12, and 4. Their 26 points in 27 games is the 3rd worst record in the Metropolitan Division. The Capitals are sitting 15 points behind the division-leading New Jersey Devils. At this point, the Capitals have won 4 of their last 10 games, and with this loss, the Edmonton Oilers are 14, 12, and 0. They and the Blues are the only 2 teams in the West who still have yet to lose in overtime. Their 28 points in 26 games is the 4th best record in the Pacific Division. They sit 11 points behind the division-leading Vegas Golden Knights. As of right now, the Oilers have lost 5 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to Calgary, the Flames would host the Arizona Coyotes. The Flames would beat the Coyotes 3-2 at home. After the Coyotes would tie it up in the 3rd, and it was tied for about 10 minutes, Nazem Kadri's 9th goal of the season off of a power play would put the Flames up and give them what they needed to win. Nazem Kadri, Calgary center out of London, Ontario, would be the top star of the game. The 2nd star would go to Arizona's Jacob Chichorun. Sorry if I butchered the name, as he had a goal and an assist to his name. With this win, the Calgary Flames are holding on to a 12-10-3 record. Their 27 points through 25 games is the fourth worst record in the Pacific Division. The Flames are sitting 12 points behind the division-leading Vegas Golden Knights. The Flames they won their last 2 games, and they have won 5 of their last 10 to date. With this loss, the Arizona Coyotes are 7-12-4. As of right now, they're 18 points in 23 games, ties them with the Blackhawks for the worst standing in the Central Division. Only the Ducks have a worse record in the West right now than the Arizona Coyotes. The Coyotes are on a 5-game losing streak. Only the Ducks have a longer active losing streak with a 6-game losing streak. And to this date, the Arizona Coyotes have lost 9 of their last 10 games to date. And then taking a look at what's going on in Vancouver in the Canadian Southwest, the Canucks would host the Montreal Canadiens. In a goal fest, it would go to overtime tied at 6, as Andrei Kuzmenko's power play goal would tie the game up at 6 after the Canadiens took a late lead. It would be Elias Pettersson's goal just 13 seconds into overtime that gave Vancouver the win. Vancouver's center out of Sweden, Elias Pettersson, would be the top star as he had a goal and 2 assists. Vancouver's right winger Ilya Mikheyev out of Russia would be the second star as he had 2 goals. The third star would be Montreal center Nick Suzuki. He had a goal and an assist. With this overtime win, the Vancouver Canucks are holding on to a record of 11-12-3. Their 25 points through 26 games is the third worst record in the Pacific Division. They have won their last 2 games as they've won 7 of their last 3. They currently sit 14 points behind the division-leading Vegas Golden Knights. With this overtime loss, the Montreal Canadiens are 12-11-2. They are 26 points through 25 games, is the third worst record in the Atlantic Division. They are currently sitting 15 points behind the division-leading Boston Bruins. The Canadiens have lost their last 2 games. They've lost 6 of their last 10, and only one of those 6 losses would come in overtime or later. Taking a look at what's going on today in the NHL, at 7, the New Jersey Devils, who are tied for the best record in the NHL, are set to host the Chicago Blackhawks. The Ottawa Senators are going to host the LA Kings, as the Senators hold the worst record in the Atlantic Division. The Columbus Blue Jackets, who hold the worst record in the East, are going to go to Pittsburgh to face off against the Penguins. At 7 o'clock, the Tampa Bay Lightning are set to host the Detroit Red Wings. At 7:30, the New York Islanders are set to host the St. Louis Blues. At 8 o'clock, the Winnipeg Jets are set to host the Florida Panthers. The Dallas Stars, who are currently leading the Central Division, are set to host the Toronto Maple Leafs. At 10 o'clock, the Anaheim Ducks, who both hold the worst record in the NHL and the longest active losing streak, are set to host the Carolina Hurricanes, who are holding on to a 4-game winning streak, which is the longest active winning streak in the East, and tied for the longest active winning streak in the NHL. And then at 10, the Seattle Kraken are set to host the Montreal Canadiens, as the Kraken are 6 points out of first place. Taking a look, last but not least, at what's going on in the NBA. Starting off in Charlotte, the Hornets would host the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers would end up beating the Hornets 119-117. They would go on and win this game by 2 on the road after they would outscore the Clippers by 8 points in the fourth quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the visiting Charlotte Hornets were led in scoring by their starting shooting guard out of Kansas, Kelly Oubre Jr. He had 28 points and 7 rebounds in 40 minutes. He shot 10 for 23 from the field, 4 for 10 from 3, and 4 for 6 from the free throw line. Charlotte's starting power forward, PJ Washington, had 26 points in 34 minutes. He would shoot 11 for 21 from the field and 4 for 10 from 3. Charlotte's starting shooting guard Terry Rozier finished with 22 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals in 38 minutes. He would shoot 8 for 22 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the free throw line. Off the bench, Charlotte's center Nick Richards had 11 points and 10 rebounds in 20 minutes. He shot 5 for 6 from the field and 1 for 2 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the visiting Los Angeles Clippers were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard Paul George. He would finish with 19 points, 3 rebounds, and 7 assists in 28 minutes. He shot 8 for 15 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. He would make his only free throw attempt on the night. The Clippers' point guard off the bench, John Wall, would finish with 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 12 assists in 27 minutes. The former perennial All-Star would shoot 4 for 13 from the field. And back in the Clippers' starting lineup, their goated starting small forward and two-time Finals MVP Kawhi Leonard would finish with 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists in 28 minutes. He shot 7 for 15 from the field, and he would make both of his free throw attempts on the day. With this win, the Los Angeles Clippers are holding on to a 14-11 record. As of right now, they are holding on to the 6th best record in the West. They sit 2.5 games behind the Western Conference leading Phoenix Suns. The Clippers have won 6 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Charlotte Hornets are 7-17. As of right now, the Hornets are holding on to the 3rd worst record in the Eastern Conference. They sit 12.5 games behind the 20-win Celtics, who are sitting on top of the East. The Hornets have lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 6 of their last 10 to date. Jumping out to Orlando, the Magic would host the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks would beat the Magic 109-102. They would win this game by 7 on the road after outscoring the Magic by 9 in the first quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Orlando Magic would be led in scoring by their starting forward, Franz Wagner. Wagner would finish with 25 points and 6 rebounds in 36 minutes. He would shoot 8 for 13 from the field, and he would shoot a perfect 7 for 7 from the free throw line. Their starting power forward and number 1 overall pick from this year's draft out of Duke, Paolo Banchero, would finish with 20 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists in 33 minutes. He shot 4 for 16 from the field and 12 for 15 from the foul line. The Magic starting point guard and former number 1 overall pick, Markelle Fultz, finished with 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals in 32 minutes. He shot 8 for 18 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3 as he made both of his free throws. Orlando's starting center, Moritz Wagner, finished with 19 points and 12 rebounds as he fouled out in 32 minutes. He shot 7 for 10 from the field. He would make all 5 of his free throw attempts on the day. On the winning end of this matchup, the Milwaukee Bucks would be led in scoring by their elite starting power forward, one-time NBA champ, 2-time MVP, and now 28-year-old Giannis Antetokounmpo. Today is his birthday. Number 34 would finish with 34 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 assists as he had 2 blocks in 33 minutes. He shot 12 for 21 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and he would shoot 8 for 11 from the free throw line. Milwaukee starting forward Bobby Portis had 18 points and 10 rebounds in 27 minutes. He shot 8 for 12 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, and he would shoot 1 for 2 from the free throw line. Milwaukee starting point guard Jrue Holiday had 17 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 steals, and 6 turnovers in 35 minutes. He shot 5 for 12 from the field as he made all 6 of his free throws on the day. With this win, the Milwaukee Bucks are 17-6. That is the 2nd best record in the Eastern Conference and the 2nd best record in the NBA, for that matter. In the East, they are sitting 2 games behind the Eastern Conference leading Boston Celtics. The Bucks have won their last 2 games, and they've now won 7 of their last 10 to date. Their 2-game winning streak is tied with the Boston Celtics for the longest active winning streak in the Eastern Conference, just for right now. And right now, with this loss, the Orlando Magic are 5-20. They are holding on to the worst record in the Eastern Conference and the worst record in the NBA. They are the only team with less than 6 wins, and they are the first team in the NBA to 20 losses. In the Eastern Conference picture, they sit 15 games behind the Eastern Conference leading Celtics. The Magic are holding on to a 9-game losing streak. Only the San Antonio Spurs have a longer active losing streak in the NBA, as the Magic have the longest losing streak in the East. And a 9-game losing streak means that they've lost 9 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to Atlanta, the Hawks would host the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder would beat the Hawks 121-114. They won this game by 7 on the road after outscoring the Hawks by 11 points in the fourth to overcome their 4-point deficit. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Hawks were led in scoring by their starting shooting guard DeJounte Murray. Murray finished with 24 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 blocks in 38 minutes. He shot 10 for 21 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and he would shoot 1 for 3 from the free throw line. Atlanta's elite starting point guard Trae Young finished with 23 points, 3 rebounds, and 10 assists in 37 minutes. He shot 6 for 19 from the field, 1 for 7 from 3, and 10 for 11 from the free throw line. Atlanta starting center Clint Capella finished with 14 points, 16 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 30 minutes. He shot 7 for 10 from the field. On the winning end of this matchup, the visiting Oklahoma City Thunder were led in scoring by their starting point guard out of Kentucky, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He finished with 35 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 6 turnovers in 35 minutes. He shot 10 for 22 from the field, as he would make all 15 of his free throw attempts on the night. Oklahoma City starting small forward Luguentz Dort had 11 points and 10 rebounds in 32 minutes. He shot 4 for 16 from the field, as he made both of his free throws on the day. With this win, the Oklahoma City Thunder are 11-13. That is the 4th worst record in the Western Conference. They are sitting 5 games behind the Western Conference leading Phoenix Suns. The Thunder are holding on to a 3-game winning streak. Only the Pelicans have a longer active winning streak in the West. The Thunder have won 5 of their last 10 games. And with this loss, the Atlanta Hawks are 13-11. They are tied with the Indiana Pacers for the 4th best record in the East. The Hawks are sitting 6.5 games behind the Boston Celtics at the top of the East. The Hawks have lost 6 of their last 10 games with this one. Taking a look at what would happen in Toronto, the Raptors would host the Boston Celtics. The Celtics would continue their run this season, as they would beat the Raptors 116-110 to become the first team in the NBA to 20 wins. The Celtics would win this game by 6 on the road after they outscored the Raptors by 17 in the third quarter alone. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Raptors were led in scoring by their starting power forward out of New Mexico State, Pascal Siakam. Siakam finished with 29 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists in 39 minutes. He shot 9 for 20 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and 9 for 13 from the free throw line. Toronto's starting small forward, Scotty Barnes, had 21 points and 7 rebounds in 41 minutes. He shot 8 for 14 from the field and 4 for 6 from the free throw line. Their shooting guard off the bench, Gary Trent Jr., would finish with 20 points and 2 steals in 26 minutes. He shot 7 for 10 from the field. He would make all 3 of his 3-pointers. He would shoot 3 for 4 from the free throw line as well. On the winning end of this matchup, the visiting Celtics were led in scoring by their elite starting small forward out of Duke, Jason Tatum. Tatum finished with 31 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 assists, all in 39 minutes. He shot 11 for 24 from the field, 5 for 10 from 3. He would shoot 4 for 5 from the free throw line. Boston starting shooting guard Jaylen Brown had 22 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists in 39 minutes. He shot 9 for 22 from the field. He would go on and shoot 3 for 4 from the free throw line. With this win, the Boston Celtics are now 20-5. They are holding the best record in the NBA right now. In the Eastern Conference, they are sitting 2 games ahead of the second-place Milwaukee Bucks. The Celtics are currently holding 4 more wins in the Western Conference, leading Phoenix Suns as things stand. The Celtics are on a 2-game winning streak, as they've now won 8 of their last 10. They are tied with the Milwaukee Bucks for the longest active winning streak out east. The New Orleans Pelicans are holding on to the longest active winning streak in the NBA right now. With this loss, the Toronto Raptors are 12-12. They are tied with the 76ers for the 7th best record in the East. The Raptors sit 7.5 games behind the Celtics that just beat them. And with this loss, the Raptors have lost 5 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to Houston, Texas, the Rockets would host the 76ers in a game that would go to 2 overtimes. The Rockets would beat the 76ers 132-123 in front of their hometown fans. The Sixers would force overtime after outscoring the Rockets by 6, but of course it wouldn't be enough in the overtimes. On the losing end of this matchup, the visiting 76ers were led in scoring by their elite starting center, Joel Embiid. Embiid finished with 39 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks, as well as 5 turnovers, as Embiid fouled out in 35 minutes. He shot 12 for 21 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, and 14 for 17 from the free throw line. Their starting power forward, Tobias Harris, had 27 points and 3 steals in 46 minutes. He shot 9 for 15 from the field, 7 for 8 from 3, and he would make both of his free throws. Philly's elite starting shooting guard and former MVP, James Harden, would finish with 21 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and 7 turnovers in 38 minutes. He shot 4 for 19 from the field. All of his makes came from 3, as he was 4 for 11 from 3. He shot 9 for 10 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Houston Rockets were led in scoring by their starting shooting guard, Jalen Green. Their former number 2 overall pick had 27 points and 7 assists, as well as 7 turnovers in 44 minutes. Green shot 9 for 20 from the field and 9 for 10 from the free throw line. Their starting shooting guard, Kevin Porter Jr., had 24 points and 6 rebounds, as he nearly fouled out in 44 minutes. He shot 7 for 17 from the field, 4 for 8 from 3, and 6 for 8 from the free throw line. The Rockets starting power forward, their rookie out of Auburn, Jabari Smith, had 16 points and 11 rebounds, as he had 5 fouls in 39 minutes. He shot 3 for 8 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3. He would shoot 7 for 9 from the free throw line. With this win, the Houston Rockets are 7-17. They're holding on to the second worst record in the Western Conference, as they sit 9 games behind the Western Conference leading Suns. As of right now, the Rockets have won 5 of their last 10 games, and now the Spurs have the sole worst record in the West. With this loss, the 76ers are 12-12. They are tied with the Toronto Raptors for the 7th best record in the East. The Sixers are currently sitting 7.5 games behind the Eastern Conference leading Boston Celtics. The Sixers are holding on to a 3-game losing streak, as they've lost 5 of their last 10 games. Only the Orlando Magic have a longer active losing streak in the Eastern Conference than the Sixers do. Taking a look now at what happened in Memphis, the Grizzlies would host the Miami Heat. The Grizzlies would beat the Heat 101-93 at home. They won this game by 8 after they outscored the Heat by 12 in the second quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, visiting Heat would be led in scoring by their guard out of Kentucky, Tyler Hero. Their shooting guard finished with 23 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 assists in 40 minutes. He shot 8 for 20 from the field, as he made all 4 of his free throws. Miami's elite starting small forward, Jimmy Butler, finished with 18 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, and 5 turnovers in 33 minutes. He shot 6 for 11 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, and he would make 5 of his 8 free throw attempts on the night. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Memphis Grizzlies were led in scoring by their starting point guard out of Duke, Tyus Jones. The former national champ would finish with 28 points, 5 rebounds, 10 assists, and 2 steals in 36 minutes. He shot 10 for 16 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3. He would shoot a perfect 5 for 5 from the free throw line. Memphis' starting power forward, Santi Aldama, had 18 points and 10 rebounds in 34 minutes. He shot 8 for 12 from the field and 2 for 5 from 3. With this win, the Grizzlies are holding on to a 15-9 record. That is currently the 3rd best record in the Western Conference. They are sitting a full game behind the Western Conference leading Phoenix Suns. They're on a 3-game winning streak, as they have now won 6 of their last 10 games to date. As of right now, only the Pelicans have a longer active winning streak in the West. And with this loss, the Miami Heat are holding on to an 11-13 record. They are tied with the New York Knicks and the Washington Wizards for the 9th best record in the East. They sit 8.5 games behind the Eastern Conference leading Boston Celtics. As of right now, the Heat have lost 6 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to Dallas, the Mavericks would host the Western Conference leading Phoenix Suns. The Mavericks would beat the Suns 130-111 at home. They won this game by 19 after they outscored the Suns by 18 in the first quarter. They were up by 26 at the half. On the losing end of this matchup, the visiting Suns were led in scoring by their starting center DeAndre Ayton. Their former number 1 overall pick out of Arizona finished with 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 blocks in 27 minutes. He shot 9 for 11 from the field and 2 for 4 from the free throw line. Phoenix's starting point guard for the day, Cameron Payne, had 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 10 assists in 34 minutes. He shot 4 for 16 from the field. He would go on and make all 4 of his free throws on the day. The Suns' elite starting shooting guard out of Kentucky, Devin Booker, had 11 points, 2 rebounds, and 5 assists in 30 minutes. He shot 4 for 13 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3. He would make both of his free throws for Dallas. Or for Phoenix, I'm mistaken. On the winning end of this matchup, the Dallas Mavericks would be led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard, Luka Doncic. He finished with 33 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 blocks in 29 minutes. He shot 12 for 20 from the field, 4 for 9 from 3, and 5 for 7 from the free throw line. The Mavericks starting point guard, Spencer Dinwiddie, would finish with 21 points in 28 minutes. He shot 5 for 15 from the field, 5 for 8 from 3. He would make all 6 of his free throw attempts on the day. With this win, the Dallas Mavericks are holding on to a 12-11 record. They are holding on to the 9th best record in the West win percentage-wise. They are sitting 3.5 games behind the Western Conference leading Phoenix Suns. They've won their last 2 games, and they've only won 4 of their last 10 to date. With this loss, the Phoenix Suns are holding on to a 16-8 record. They have the best record in the Western Conference win percentage-wise. They still sit behind the Celtics and the Bucks out east. The Suns are sitting half a game ahead of the second-place New Orleans Pelicans as things stand, and with this loss, they've lost 3 of their last 10 to date. Taking a look at what happened in San Francisco, last but not least, the Golden State Warriors would host the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers would give the Warriors their second home loss this season after the Pacers won this game 112-104. They won this game by 8 on the road after they outscored the Warriors by 13 in the first quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Warriors were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard, Klay Thompson. Their 4-time champ would finish with 28 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists in 37 minutes. He shot 9 for 23 from the field, 8 for 16 from 3. He would make both of his free throws on the night. The Warriors starting shooting guard, Jordan Poole, out of Michigan, would finish with 23 points and 5 rebounds in 32 minutes. He shot 10 for 21 from the field. He would make his only free throw on the day. The Warriors' goated starting point guard, Stephen Curry, would finish with 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists, all in 38 minutes. The NBA's all-time leader in three-pointers made would shoot 3 for 17 from the field. He would shoot 2 for 10 from 3 as he would make all 4 of his free throws. With this win, or on the winning end of this matchup, the Pacers would be led in scoring by their starting point guard, Andrew Nembhard. Their point guard out of Gonzaga, their rookie, would go on and finish with 31 points, 8 rebounds, and 13 assists, all in 41 minutes. He shot 13 for 21 from the field, 5 for 7 from 3 as well. With this win, the Indiana Pacers are holding on to a 13-11 record. As of right now, they are holding on to the 4th best record in the East as they are tied with the Atlanta Hawks. The Pacers are sitting 6.5 games behind the Eastern Conference leading Boston Celtics. They've won 5 of their last 10 games to date. With this loss, the defending champions, Golden State Warriors, are 13-12. That is the 10th best record in the Western Conference win percentage-wise. They are sitting 3.5 games behind the Western Conference leading Phoenix Suns. They've lost 3 of their last 10 games to date. That is what the NBA is looking like as we move into today's matchups. Because today is Tuesday, the primetime games are going to be on TNT. At 7:30, LeBron goes home as the 15-9 Cleveland Cavaliers are set to host the 10-12 LA Lakers. The Cavs are holding on to the third best record in the East as they sit 2.5 games behind the second place Milwaukee Bucks. The 10-12 LA Lakers hold the third worst record in the West as they are sitting a full game, I guess they're sitting half a game behind at least the Timberwolves to get out of the bottom 5. And at 10 o'clock, the 14-9 Denver Nuggets are set to host the 12-11 Dallas Mavericks. The Nuggets are holding on to the fourth best record in the Western Conference. A win here could possibly see them move into the top 3. And then outside of the primetime games, at 7:30, the Miami Heat are set to host the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons hold the second worst record in the East right now. That's all that I have for you today. Once again, today is Tuesday, December 6, 2022. I'm James Sims, and this is The Elite. I want to thank everyone for listening. I hope all is well, and I will catch you with more tomorrow. Thanks for listening to this piece. I hope all is well, and peace out.